Welcome to Skincredible, where we tell you what you should know about your skin and how to glow. 'Cause your skin's incredible.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another fun-filled episode of Skincredible, where you're going to receive credible information about your skin, and you're going to learn a lot, and you're going to have fun. And today's episode is super, super special because I have some very important guests, some VIPs, coming to chat with us today. We have the parents of one of my patients, Bear, one of my favorite patients, although you shouldn't say that. And this is Rachel and Trek, mom and dad to Bear. And they are here to tell us about Bear's journey with eczema. And so welcome, you guys. Thank you so much for coming and doing this. I know you're taking time out of your very busy days to come and chat with us. And we really, really appreciate it. And the audience really appreciates it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep. We love being with you and talking to you.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Thanks, guys. Well, I wanted to start by kind of taking us back to the beginning of Bear's journey. I met Bear in 2022. He was 6 years old at that time,
Mhm.
and he had rip-roaring eczema. Tell me about his eczema journey. How old was he when it started? Where does it all begin?
Yeah. He was probably like 2 to 3 when it started to kind of percolate and start to appear. And at the time, we had a different pediatrician than when we got to you. That's a little bit later. But we just kind of started to use creams and just small things, but it really rapidly progressed and got worse. And so he was probably going to the doctor like every month, every other month. But we were running tests. He was getting blood draws. He was getting poked all the time. We had to do stool samples, allergy tests. We bought thousands of dollars of supplements and changed our whole diet for a while. And we were trying all these different things and nothing was touching it. Nothing was helping. And so it got to the point that year, 2022, leading up to when we met you, was the worst that it ever was, where he couldn't go outside because he'd just get a fever. And so in the summer, we were like, oh, let's go outside, go to the lake, maybe just cool off for an hour, but then he'd immediately get a fever. So he was miserable outside. And then if we went inside anywhere, he was like sweating, but freezing at the same time. So he was super miserable going anywhere. So even going in public was difficult. And then he wasn't sleeping, scratched all night, of course. And his whole bed would be just littered with his skin, which he hated. And it would crack open and ooze and then get infected. So then be another doctor visit just to treat the infections that were happening. And we would try to like tie things to his hands and
Wear socks.
wear
so it couldn't
socks to
scratch
bed.
his-
I think it was so itchy that he'd still just rub so hard even with the socks on. And there'd be times we'd lay in bed with him at night and like just hold down his arms. Because he does it even when he's like, I think not even aware that he's doing it.
Yes.
So he was having a really hard time. At that point, we tried another different kind of doctor and he was doing these like drops under his tongue. Kind of worked for a second, but then it didn't. So a lot of things that we would try just didn't work.
Give us a little bit of hope,
Yeah.
and then it would tank, and then we'd go back down
To just feeling lost. So then we found a new pediatrician, and right away he recommended us to go to a dermatologist and a rheumatologist because he was in so much pain too physically. It hurt for us even like touch him. So we were like, this is so out of control. We couldn't imagine it being eczema. I think because it also is not talked about in that people don't think of it as like this life-altering.
Yeah, it's just a wrap. They just need to stop scratching.
Yeah, it was crazy. So we went to the rheumatologist, I think the day before we saw you, or a couple days before we actually met you. And the rheumatologist he was a great guy, but he really scared us. And he was like, well, he might have cancer. So then we went on this whole other journey of more tests and
More anxiety.
way, so much anxiety. It was horrible. And then we saw you. And I think that day he had his first treatment shot and we were shocked because we hadn't seen him act like a kid in what felt like years at that point. Being able to just move and play and be happy.
Just be comfortable in his own skin.
Yeah, because he was also very depressed.
Yeah.
Like it took a toll on him for sure.
Which is hard to believe now. And audience, you will hear from Bear. Bear himself, he's here. He's in the building and he will be making an appearance. So get excited for that. But yeah, you can't imagine him being down because he's such a lively, wonderful, happy kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a very hard time.
Yeah.
It feels like so long ago in some ways, but it's also like so fresh because it was so hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you bring up so many important points about kind of the burden that eczema is. And it's a burden in so many ways. It's a burden psychologically, watching your child suffer. It's a burden financially, buying all those products and all those supplements and doing all those tests. It's a burden emotionally because your heart is breaking as you're watching your child go through this. And then it can be a burden on family dynamics too.
It was for sure.
Bear has 2 siblings. And do either of them have eczema?
They don't. And I didn't hit on that part, but it definitely changes the family dynamic a lot. And it did take a toll because, they're all close in age. They all love to play together. When it got really bad that year of 2022, where he was so exhausted from not sleeping. So he would just like pass out during the day. And then he didn't run around. He didn't play. He couldn't play with his toys. He couldn't go outside. So the other brothers in some way were like limited because you all have to cater to the lifestyle of, well, we can't really go out in public. If we do, we all have to kind of like wrap him in a bubble kind of. Like it was just really hard.
It affects the activities you guys can participate in as a family, vacations even, things like that.
Yes.
It's hard to travel with a kid with eczema because you don't really know what's going to happen depending on where you're going. Will the eczema flare? How many creams do you have to pack?
Oh, everything. You're so right. Yeah. We had planned our very first ever family trip that year in October, and we almost canceled it because there was no way we would have gone if we hadn't met you.
Yeah.
I think we met you in August or September, and we hands down would not have been able to go with the way that he was and enjoy it.
Yes. No, I remember that vividly.
Yes.
And because you guys were about to go on that trip. And then I remember the next time I saw you, you had just been on the trip. And I'll save that story for a little bit later, but it's one of the best parts of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's special.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see the eczema affecting kind of the things that Bear chose to do for fun? Like, did it limit the sports he participated in? Did he talk about that? Or was he just kind of like putting on a tough exterior the whole time?
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit. So he was in wrestling. And he loved the sport. Wrestling, obviously, is a very physical, hands-on,
skin to skin.
And so, I mean, he did. He put all of his heart into wrestling, and unfortunately, just got to a point where it was so uncomfortable that he couldn't participate anymore.
It was similar with the karate too, the kung fu. Yeah.
So we had him enrolled in a lot of. We had kung fu, we had wrestling. And again, he would put his heart and soul into the activity. Every time that he was at practice, he was all in. But unfortunately, he just got to a point where it was too tough. My wife spoke to it earlier, but it did take a toll on him mentally as well. Because he wanted so bad to just be that young kid and play with his friends and go outside and experience, what at that time, 4, 5, 6-year-old child should be able to experience. But he was very limited to what he could participate in. He couldn't go outside because of how the weather would affect his skin. And you couldn't participate in the sports because of like the hand-to-hand or the physical skin-to-skin, as you said.
Yeah.
And so, it was tough.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think sometimes kids, I see it all the time, they're kind of tethered by the burden of eczema and they're young enough, they don't even understand that they're tethered by it. And then finally, when they get relief, you see them come out of their shell in so many ways. Like I've even had parents tell me they sometimes feel like they're meeting their kid for the first time when their eczema is finally better. I had another patient who started the medicine that Bear initially started. It's called Dupixent. When she was 2 years old. And at the follow-up visit, the parents said that she wakes up happy every morning. They had no idea she was that unhappy. They just thought she was a grumpy Gus. Yes. And then now you take the eczema away and it's like, oh my gosh, here is my child. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So the day we met, Bear was miserable. And I could see that from the moment I walked in the room. He was pacing. He couldn't even get comfortable. He was pacing the room. He was shivering, which often happens when you're covered with eczema. Your skin loses its ability to maintain your heat. And so you get cold and you shiver. And so I took one look at him and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how much this kiddo is suffering. We're going to make this better right now. And I proposed that we consider a medicine called Dupixent. And Dupixent's a shot, and he got his first shot that day. And we'll talk to Bear about that experience. And we gave him his first shot that day and then saw him back a month later. He was already doing so much better. Tell me a little bit about your guys' experience those first few days and weeks.
Yeah. So like I said, I mean, it was shocking. Like I think we were so doubtful that anything could work or could help. Because I remember it vividly as well of when you told him like, you're going to feel so much better.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to even talk about. You know, for the audience out there, Mom and I, Rachel and I did a video together for Dupixent. I mean, we just cried the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, I was amazed that they were able to get enough material of us not crying in order to complete the project.
Yeah.
Because it's emotional.
It is. Because it's so vivid.
Yeah.
And it is such a big deal. But yeah, he, like that kind of comment about waking up happy and stuff like that. Yeah, we always think of Bear like in the morning. He's our morning guy and he runs. He doesn't walk anywhere. And he didn't do that for years. And so after he got the first shot of Dupixent, we were laying in bed. We could just hear him running down the hall. We were like just shocked that even he was doing that.
Right.
And being able to interact and play with his brothers again and just smile.
Yeah.
Because truly he hadn't smiled in months. And so we were shocked that we finally had hope.
I feel like sometimes eczema is a huge burden, and I think people understand that, but I think sometimes they don't even appreciate how big of a burden until it gets better. And there's that expression, you can boil to death in a slowly heating bathtub. And I think eczema can be that slowly heating bathtub for so many patients and their families, because over months and years, you are incrementally making adjustments to your life, to your expectations, the activities and planning that you do for your family. And you don't even realize the full impact of that until a medicine makes it better. And then you're like, I can't believe we were living that way, you know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and that's why it makes me still so emotional. Because it's so drastic and it's so life altering and people don't understand what it's like.
Yeah. For those of you out there that haven't listened to the episode where we discussed treatment options, just a little bit of information about Dupixent. Dupixent is what we call a biologic, and it works on turning down the inflammation of eczema. It works specifically by targeting something called IL-4 and IL-13, but it basically turns down what's turned up. It's not an immunosuppressant. Kids actually have lower incidence of infections on Dupixent, and it requires no blood work, but it is a shot. It's an SHOT, and for little kids like Bear, it's every 4 weeks. Once kids grow up and they're a little bit older and they weigh a little bit more, then it's every 2 weeks. And so when I first told you guys about Dupixent, I remember you guys were both on board pretty quickly. I think you had seen your child suffer for so long that, like, when I brought up a possibility for relief, you were like, yeah, sign us up. What would you tell parents of a child with moderate to severe eczema? They're thinking about Dupixent, they're thinking about taking that leap. What would you tell them based on your experience?
So leading up to Dupixent, it was a journey. Initially, Bear was very, very frightened about, getting his blood drawn and shots and things like that, to the point where it got so bad that we had to hold him down at points just to get his blood drawn and shots and things like that.
And he's wiggly.
And he is very strong.
And he knows Kung Fu.
Yeah,
he's dangerous. So when you mentioned Dupixent as a shot, and just being at the very bottom, our worst blow, as my wife explained, to the point where our son couldn't act his age. Like, he couldn't participate in sports. He couldn't play with his friends outside. School was very difficult at times because, he's sitting in the classroom and he's constantly itching, and even like moving his arm in the motion of just writing or doing schoolwork was painful. So we'd get phone calls from the teacher saying, hey, Bear is struggling today. Bear is in tears. He's in pain. So with all that in mind, when you mentioned Dupixent, we were on board. We felt like we had tried absolutely everything that we could try. And so we were like, well, what do we have to lose? And I think even at Bear at that point was like, I'm in. I'm miserable. Let's do what we can to try to fix this. And so that all that I can offer for parents out there that are hesitant because of the SHOT. Dupixent was a miracle. It truly was. It gave us hope. We began to see a light at the end of the tunnel.
That's the biggest part. I think eczema crushes hope.
Yeah.
And families just, you get sucked into that. You get lost in that. And the ability to think about a medication that puts that hope back in your life, that's everything. Hope for a better day. Hope that this isn't what it's going to be like every single day. Things are going to get better. That's really, really awesome. Yeah. The way I like to frame it in the office with my patients and their families, Dupixent is an SHOT. It does hurt when you give it, but it turns the eczema into something families are thinking about once a month, or in the older kids twice a month, rather than every single day, all the time. Just that chronic weight goes away. And so I never sugarcoat the ouch factor, but instead I just kind of frame it as your life is going to be so much better. And that, 5 to 10 seconds of ouch is going to let you feel better all the other seconds of all the other days. Now, Bear did beautifully on Dupixent for a very long time. And then he got a little bit older and he started to have more flares of his eczema. And so we talked about a trial of a medicine called Rinvoq that's currently approved age 12 and up. But we were participants in the pediatric trials. And so we talked to you guys and Bear about that. Do we want to try that? And it was a pretty cool study because there was no chance of placebo. They actually didn't have a placebo group. And so you knew he was going to get the real thing, which is great. And Bear also got to earn some money. Earn some moolah, which we're going to talk to him about. He's quite the entrepreneur. And so we embarked on that journey. And Rinvoq is a very effective eczema medicine, very effective for the audience. It's an oral medication, either a pill once a day or a liquid twice a day. We'll talk about how the end result went, but what was your guys' experience participating in a trial, having your child in a trial?
Yeah, I think it was also fun. I'll preface that we love working with you the most.
Oh,
So because we had to sort of step away from here for a while to do the study, we missed you.
Yeah.
So we're glad to be back. But no, I mean, it was great. I think it was rewarding in some sense for Bear because he was able to kind of benefit from it in that way too, financially.
Yeah.
Being the entrepreneur that he is. So that fueled him. And his brothers were jealous. They were like, well, you should be thankful you didn't have to go through what he's gone through.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it was all kind of good in that sense to open up their eyes too. So they understood like he's gone through a lot. He's kind of earned this. So, and he still had to get his blood drawn, but he's so good at it now. I mean, it's somewhat sad to say, but he was a champ and he was happy to not do the shot, but the Rinvoq liquid did not taste good.
I've heard it tastes really bad.
Yes. I'm sure he'll maybe mention it. Yeah. It was a good experience though overall.
Yeah. Well, you guys were in the study and so I wasn't seeing you. And then I got a call one day that things were not going well and his eczema was not doing well. And so it brought you guys in to take a look. And it's something that I think has only been really recognized, not even globally, just in small circles. But what I suspected when I saw him, because, Dupixent's a wonderful medicine. Rinvoq is a wonderful medicine. These are very effective medicines. Right. And the fact that he was not improving was surprising. And so you think, okay, well, what could be contributing that would be holding us back from success? There have been reports of this yeast species called Malassezia contributing to and exacerbating eczema. And it tends to result in eczema that's very kind of face predominant and then like chest and back and upper arms. That tends to have that pattern. And so when I saw Bear in the office that day, I was like, you know what? I think this is Malassezia. And it's not like the sole cause of the eczema. Bear had eczema long before Malassezia entered his picture, but it exacerbates the eczema. The eczema kind of reacts to the Malassezia. And Malassezia is a species of yeast that's on all of us. It's on me right now. It's on you guys right now. It's part of our normal flora. But sometimes the balance gets out of whack and then the immune system responds. And so we treated him with an oral medication that treats yeast and he did beautifully. And so right now he's just on a topical for his eczema called Opzelura, which we talked about during our treatments episode. But Opzelura is a topical JAK inhibitor, very effective. most effective topical medicine we've ever seen for eczema. So we settled down the Malassezia. We're treating his eczema with Opzelura. What's been your guys' take on all of that?
It's again, we started with the light with Dupixent, and we've continued this journey through the study, and now we've landed at the Opzelura, and it's great. He looks great. He's able to, go outside, to be very active, goes outside every day with his brothers, fights with his brothers, wrestles with his brothers. He's excited because he wants to get back into Kung Fu. And so that's a testament of its own that, he's feeling froggy. He's feeling like himself again, to where he can be able to be active and be able to play with kids his age. And so it's been a journey, and it's been years at this point getting to where we're at now.
I like that expression, feeling froggy. I don't believe I've ever heard that before.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Thank you for teaching me something.
Certainly, he's a quite wired.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
very animated, which you'll see as well. But we're even more optimistic that, it's not going to be, he's not going to be limited to eczema or his abilities because of eczema for the rest of his life. There's hope that someday he'll be 100% clear.
Yeah.
To where if you would have said that was a possibility a couple years ago, I would have been doubtful. Right. So now I have hope. We have hope as a family, and we're starting to kind of nestle in as young families should, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think his skin has never looked better.
Yay.
Yeah, especially like to your point of kind of this other type of eczema that we weren't really as familiar with and didn't really know or understand. I think that's always been sort of the thing that was hanging on. And now that's finally getting addressed. So, I mean, it's so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. The Malassezia journey has been an interesting one for me, because I think I shared with you guys at that appointment that I was giving a talk at a conference, and it was me and an adult dermatologist. And I was going to present a tough adult eczema patient, and he was going to present a tough pediatric eczema patient. And we were going to try to kind of help each other on stage. And so I submitted pictures of an adult patient of mine that was really perplexing me. And I emailed them to this adult dermatologist, and he said, well, this will make for a great discussion, but it's Malassezia, and you just have to do this itraconazole pill. And I was like,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Easy. Yeah.
Right. And so for that patient, I called him up. We started the itraconazole. He called me a week later saying how much better he was. He actually emailed me, and I didn't have a chance to email him right back. So he called the office, and he said, I just want to make sure Dr. Swanson knows that I am doing so much better. And so we learn so much through these experiences. And we learn so much from our peers and, from other doctors' experiences treating patients. And I felt very lucky to have shared that patient, been kind of humbled by the, oh, it's that simple. But then it benefited Bear, because when Bear walked in that day, I was like, I know what this is. I know why this isn't responding. And so all of these experiences, all of these kind of challenges, they make us tougher and more resilient and more strong and more knowledgeable, and we gain experience that's invaluable. Well, thank you guys so much for talking with us. And now the most exciting part of the show is we're going to bring Bear out. Well, this is the moment everybody's been waiting for. We have Bear front and center. Hi, Bear. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
You're doing okay?
I'm doing okay now.
Is this your first time on a podcast?
Yeah.
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 How does it feel?
Natural.
You're ready to shine. Yeah. Bear, do you remember the first time we met?
I do.
You do? What do you remember from that day?
I mean, I definitely wasn't 10.
No, you definitely weren't 10.
No.
Nope. You were 6.
I was 6.
Yeah.
But I hated shots.
Yeah.
I hated them. Yeah, like my dad said, and it gave me hope. I've already been through so much pain. Like you said, 5-10 seconds of pain. It's not a whole day. It's just 5-10 seconds.
Yeah.
And that 5-10 seconds is helping me.
You could do anything for 5 to 10 seconds. You're tough. You're Kung Fu master. Yeah. Well, I remember that day. I took one look at you and chatted with you for a little bit, and I was like, oh gosh, I'm so excited to help this little guy, because I was so confident that I was going to be able to make you better. And I was excited about that because I knew how bad it was. And I talked to your parents about the Dupixent, and they said, yeah, that sounded good to them. And then I turned to you and I said, hey, Bear, your eczema is pretty bad. And you're like, I know. And I was like, are there things that you can't do because of your eczema? And you said, well, I have my 2 older brothers and I can't go swimming with them because the water hurts, and I can't play outside because my sweat burns. And I said, what if I told you there was a medicine that would make your skin look better and feel better and let you swim and play outside? And what did you say?
Let's do it.
You said, let's do it. And I said, and that medicine is a shot once a month.
And then I grew quiet.
And then you grew, and then you grew quiet. And then I said, hey, Bear, have you seen commercials for Dupixent?
And I mean, like, almost every single time there is 2 ads. Yeah.
Right. Anytime
2 or
you turn
more.
on the television, there's a Dupixent commercial. And so you had seen the commercials and you paused for a second and you gave it some thought and you said, okay, I'll do it if I can be in a commercial. Do you remember that?
Maybe I did.
That sounds like something you'd say.
Only if.
And I said, I will work on that for you. And so we gave you your first shot that day. And then I remember you coming back in a month later. And do you remember that?
I do, actually.
Yeah?
I do.
And you told me, because you were 6 and you couldn't pronounce my name at the time, Dr. Swanson, I went to San Diego with my family and I was at SeaWorld outside all day. And I went swimming in the ocean and I went swimming in the pool and I went swimming in the hot tub. And I always joke, as my eyes filled with tears, you said, and when can I be on that commercial? Do you remember that?
I do.
Yes.
I do.
Yes. And so we are still, we're working on things for that commercial. I'd love to see you on one of those commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're a star.
Been a few years, but yeah.
Yeah. We still have hope.
We still have hope.
Yeah. So what was the Dupixent experience like for you when you were on it?
We stressed out on the days that I knew were the shot. One night, I spent 30 minutes in my room doing squats, trying to make my legs be stronger so it wouldn't be as painful. But it turns out I got the days wrong and it was the day after.
Shoot. But you were stronger still. You still had those thigh muscles. So that's worth something. Yeah. Yeah. And did you feel like once you started Dupixent, did you feel like your life got a little bit better?
A lot better.
A lot better. Yeah. And you were able to do all those things?
I mean, I remember I went to this pool party, I forgot for who, but I was afraid to get in the pool. At that time, I was on Dupixent, but when I did, I mean, it wasn't hurting. I was speechless.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Was that kind of a big moment for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What other things did you start doing once your skin felt better? I bet you started sleeping better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. And I bet you enjoyed school a whole lot more because you weren't so itchy during the day.
Yeah. I could actually bend my arm.
Yeah.
I could write.
Yeah.
It was so much easier.
So much easier.
I could walk.
Yeah. Right. Because everything was so sore and painful. for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes eczema gets to the point where you're like, you're sick with eczema. You know, you're sick. You're physically sick. And then what would you tell a 6-year-old boy who doesn't really want to take a shot, but he's got bad eczema? What would you tell him? Would you say do some squats and get tough?
I mean, if that's what a 6-year-old could understand, then definitely.
Yeah.
Because that's what I understood at the time. But, I mean, it's tough. Definitely. But sometimes you got to work through the pain. You get through.
Yeah.
You get through.
Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah. You just do it. Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Do 5 push-ups.
Do 5 push-ups.
Just
And then
5, maybe.
Just 5.
No.
Don't do more than
Yeah,
that.
no.
Okay. Don't get
That's just a
crazy.
joke.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do more.
Okay. How many push-ups do you do every day, Bear?
Not every single day, but
Mhm.
I try to be consistent.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Every
I
routine?
usually I do curls
Sure. Yeah.
and then sit-ups.
Build those big biceps. Yes. I love it. Who would win if we arm wrestled, do you think? You'd probably win.
I don't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to fake it either. You can't go, no, I'm not that strong. I'm not just going to dominate.
It'll be a fair fight,
Fair fight.
but you will probably win.
You'll definitely have a better chance at winning.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. We'll do that on the next podcast that you're on with me.
Next one.
Next one. We'll both do some push-ups to prepare and some curls to prepare.
I'll bring the weights.
I love it. Now, Bear, at one point we stopped your Dupixent and you went into the study, the Rinvoq study. Tell me about that.
So, I mean, on the first day, I kept asking my mom, we're going to get a shot? And she's like, I don't know. And also, I knew that there was another term when the blood was getting sucked up. I just didn't know it was called a blood draw.
Sure.
So I kept asking her, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
And then we just kind of wait. She comes in, we meet her, laugh at jokes just like this.
Sure.
But
It's
I
all
mean,
fun.
yeah, fun and games.
Yeah.
But then she said that we had to get a blood draw. And I was like, blood draw, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
But then I forgot. I hate blood draws and I hate shots. And then I started to laugh because I was like, I can't believe I thought it would be that bad.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't know how to explain because I couldn't feel it. It was like it was numb, but
Yeah.
it wasn't.
Yeah. So it wasn't that bad. You got through
No.
it and you're like, that's not too bad.
And then the next time I went, I was almost excited
Oh my gosh.
just to
that's great.
get a blood draw.
Wow. Look at you. And so I know that another thing that you really appreciated being a part of a trial was that you earned some money.
$100 per visit.
Wow. And so what did you do with that? Did you save it? Did you squirrel it away?
I mean, I saved some of it.
Did you buy presents for your mom and dad? No. Presents for mom and dad. Did you buy presents for your brothers?
I mean, they wanted this thing for a game, so I spent $20 for me and another $20 for Reston.
Oh, God.
And I mean, I guess they each get $20. That's it. Limited.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I learned through this experience that you are quite the entrepreneur. You're a businessman.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. I sell Pokemon on eBay, and then I have a YouTube channel.
And so I learned at our last visit about this Pokemon business you've got going on. So you buy the Pokemons and then you sell them on eBay?
But most people think that the cards that don't look that good or that don't have like an EX or V-Star, I guess, they don't think it'll be worth money. Well, that is actually all just crap.
You're allowed to swear. Yeah. It's fine.
Not cuss word. I'm a Christian. I wouldn't say that.
And then your YouTube channel. I learned this today that you have a YouTube channel.
Yes.
And so what do you do on there?
So usually I do stop motion.
Animation.
It's basically the same thing, except I have no idea how to animate. Basically, I take a Lego set with all these people, and then I just start taking pictures. In every picture, I start moving them, and I put it at 10 frames per second.
Oh, wow. That's great. And how many videos do you have on YouTube, on your YouTube channel?
I haven't been keeping count.
Okay.
Maybe like 6.
I mean, I'd probably say. And I'm working on one right now, actually.
Cool. Very cool. Do your brothers help you with this, or is this something you do on your
I mean, I do it on my own.
Do it on your own? Yeah. Well, that's super cool. Now, Bear, you've been through so much with your eczema, and you've done such a good job with all of it. What advice would you have to kids out there that have eczema? What would you tell them?
I mean, it hurts, but I mean, no matter how painful medicine would be, or no matter how bad it tastes, or no matter how hard it is to get that pill down, it's all worth it. It is so worth it.
I love that. Well, I think that's a great point to end on. I think that says it all. Thank you so much, you guys, for being on. It was pure joy for me. So fun to hang out with Bear every chance I get. And I think the audience is going to love it. I think you guys are really going to help some other families and some other kids.
I hope.
I hope so too. Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in.